So we welcome you all today. Special program for Jim, Give, Juva Manch. So to this program of Satsang, we welcome you all and we pray to Shishi Radha Krishna, Shishi Gaurnitai, Srila Prabhupada and all the Vaishnav devotees of the Lord, so that they can bless us, so that we can take full advantage of this session, which is to become pure devotees of Shishi Radha Krishna and Shishi Gaurnitai. So last time, we were reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, which has been translated, and the purports have been given by His Divine Grace, Abhay Charana Ravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Thakur Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. So we were reading, starting with setting the scene, which has been written by the publishers, and we have reached where? That is the last paragraph on this page, right? The Pandavas, men of the highest moral stature, recognized Krishna to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whereas the impious sons of Dhritarashtra did not. So here, Pandavas, who were the men of the highest moral stature, moral means naitik, he was the highest moral stature, recognized Krishna to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whereas the impious sons of Dhritarashtra did not. So the people who are impious cannot understand, cannot realize that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Some people claim him to be a great man, someone can claim him to be a great saint, but very few people who are on the highest moral stature can recognize him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that he is the Supreme. So this is the qualification of the Pandavas. Yet Krishna offered to enter the war according to the desire of the antagonists. Yet Krishna offered to enter the war according to the what is antagonists? The people who are not sure that they believe in God or they do not. They are atheists, theists and antagonists. So these people on the fence, pata nahi yaar, maybe God is there, maybe God is not there. He would not personally fight, but whoever so desired might avail himself of Krishna's army. Now he would not fight himself. So there were two options given to Duryodhan. The story goes that before this great war, Duryodhan and Arjun both went to take help of Krishna. When they went to seek Lord Krishna, to cut the story short, when Krishna got up, he said, as I have seen Arjun first, because Arjun was sitting at the feet of Lord Krishna and Duryodhana was sitting at the next to his headrest, so he could not see Duryodhana first. So he says, but Duryodhana said, I have come first. So he says, okay, but I have seen Arjun first. And the other thing is this, that Arjun is younger, so younger should be given first chance to take. So he says, I offer you a choice, that you take one side, I will come, but I will not pick up any arms. And the other side, I'll give them my army. Now what do you want, Arjun? Arjun immediately, without thinking once, without blinking his eyes, he said, Krishna, I want you. And Duryodhana said up, now, though he was very much happy from inside, because he wanted the army, he didn't want Krishna. So he was very happy from within, but he was trying to act. No, okay, now I don't have any choice, so I will take the army. Though that was his interest only, to take the army. So here we see that it is on the other side have Krishna himself as an advisor and helper. As a advisor and helper. Duryodhana, the political genius, snatched at Krishna's armed forces. What did he do? Snatch. Like we snatch at the material things, we snatch at them. We don't snatch at Bhagavad Gita, which is the advice of Krishna. If Bhagavad Gita is kept here and there is 1 crore rupees here, what will you take? 1 crore rupees. You snatch 1 crore rupees. That means you have missed Gita. Very simple. See, here we got practical example in front of us. What do you want? Krishna's advice, or do you want his army? Army means his energy. So these material things are his energy. Now that we have to decide. And mostly what do we decide? 99.99% people decide on taking up the energy. That means we are actually got the mentality of Arjun or Duryodhan. Simple to understand, not difficult. So though we should become like Arjun, who won the war in the end? Arjun or Duryodhan? Actually, in the end, the devotee wins. Because after death, he does not come back into the cycle of birth and death. Whereas a non-devotee like Duryodhan, an impious person who has taken the energy of the Lord, comes back again and again. That means this is called a jail. So he comes back into the jail. Whereas the devotee gets out of the jail. So now remember one thing. The door of both the coming out and going in the same. Like when you come out of the cell of the jail, you understood? There is a cell inside the jail, and then the main gate of the jail. Now in the cell, you will think that a person who's coming out and the other person who's coming out, two persons are coming out of the cell in different cells. You will think both are the same. No, one is actually getting out of the cell never to come back. The other person is coming out of the cell to go back into the cell. But the door, both of them are coming out of the door. So death. Both are leaving this body. One is leaving his body not to come back again. Other is leaving body to come back and take another body, another cell. So who's victorious? The first one or the second one? Obviously the first one. So in the same way, here we see that he was a political genius. Snatched at Krishna's armed forces while the Pandavas were equally eager to have Krishna himself. So the eagerness of both of them were equal. And you see in the material world, a devotee's eagerness is to get Bhagavad Gita. And a materialistic's eagerness is to get his energy. Army is his energy. So the eagerness of both is equal. That means the greed is equal. You have to be greedy. Here it is stated now. While the Pandavas were equally eager. Eager means what? Greed. To have Krishna himself. So in our life also. And Krishna himself, how do you get Krishna? His advice. The moment you get a good advice, what is it stated? The moment you get a good advice, you are successful in life. What happens to us? We get wrong advice by our mind, by people around us. We get what advice? Good advice, wrong advice. Why? Because they are not knowledgeable. Why do you get bad advice? Not knowledgeable. You are sick and you go to a quack. What advice will you get? Good advice or bad advice? Bad advice. And a doctor will give you a... Because why? He's trained in that science. He's got knowledge. So in the same way, what have we to do? We have to go to Krishna. Yes. Why Krishna did not fight? Then they would say that, if you fought, then the war would have been over in how much time? But why Krishna did not fight? He is telling us that I will also advise you, I will not fight for you. See, I can advise you if you are feeling hungry to go and take food from some particular place. You will get it easily. Like, for example, if I am driving down and you are driving down, you stop me. I am feeling very thirsty. Can I get water around here somewhere? Now, if you know the place where you can get water, you will guide him. Right? But he has to go himself and drink water. So Krishna is telling, if Krishna fought the war, we would also say in our lifetime, now Krishna will do everything for us. Devotee, what would devotee say? I'll not do anything. Let Krishna do. So Krishna did not fight. He wanted to set an example that how does God actually come in your life? He comes in your life as an advisor. The doctor comes in your life as an advisor. A teacher comes in your life as an advisor. It is you to decide. You want to take advice, you take advice. You don't want to take advice, don't take advice. So Krishna said, I'll be neutral. It is upon you. That is why he did not fight. Because if he had fought, we would all be saying, come on now, let Krishna do everything. But by not fighting, he has given us the right direction. That you will have to fight the war, I'll guide you. You have to come back to me, but I will guide you how you can come back to me. Otherwise, we would become nikampoos.
In this case only, probably many youngsters say like this, that Bhagavad was written by very good human beings who really want to advise us and suggest us so that the sins will come down and we will not going to get into.
Okay. In that way, take this in that way also. Read it. See, if it is good advice, then why don't you read it? Why don't you follow it? Let them read it in some way or the other, in some pretext or the other.
But in that pretext, we always have this thing in my mind that if we written by a good human being, he is good, but I am very different. But when it is written by God,
see, if he does not believe in God,
then you speak like this.
Let them read him. Read Prabhupada's Gita. Because he was a full believer in God. So what happens? So some of his goodness rubs on to us. If you meet good people, automatically that rubs on or not? It rubs on to you.
We start following them.
Yeah, we get impressed. We meet a nice person. In that case, you also have to be little nice. If you are a crook, you will shun him. That is a reason. That is a later reason. That is a reason also. But the basic thing, first thing is this. Yes. Now, if we don't fight a war, we will not be glorified. There may be devotees who may be very good devotees, pure devotees of the Lord. They are doing devotional service in a very limited way. In their own context, 24 hours a day, but they are not in the open. They also go back home, back to God. They are not glorified. Yes, Krishna wanted that his devotee should be glorified. That is right. But I am talking now generally. I am talking how to apply this in your own life. That God comes in your life as an advisor. That is why he said, I will not fight. Arjuna, I will only act as your helper and a advisor. That's the basic reason. That is what is applicable to us in day-to-day life. In this way, Krishna became the charioteer of Arjuna, taking it upon himself to drive the fabled bowman's chariot. Now, remember one thing: we are all equipped to win the war against ignorance. See, we think the war is against competition. No. Our real war is against ignorance. Our real war is against ignorance. And we are fully equipped to fight that. How? You have been given intelligence. Why have you been given intelligence? So that you become knowledgeable. Have you been given intelligence to become ignorant or to become knowledgeable? To become knowledgeable. But are we using our intelligence to become knowledgeable? Actually, whatever we are gathering in life is all ignorance. Whatever we are gathering in life, what are we gathering? Is ignorance. I told you, the people who attended this seminar of mine, I said there are two types of knowledge. One is called Vidya, other is called Avidya. One is Vidya, one is Avidya, Sanskrit words. Vidya means knowledge of the soul, knowledge of God. This is called Vidya. And also Vidya is known as how are everything in this world, in this universe related with God. That is Vidya. What is Avidya? The moment you remove God, that is Avidya. The moment you remove God from any aspect of your life, any aspect, that means you are cultivating avidya, ignorance. Ignorance is like darkness, and Krishna is like sun.